But the difference is we Yahweh's witnesses. That's why they call us ancient watchmen. Because we're here to kill all false doctrines. You need to tune in, boy, and watch them. To tell the truth, you gon' need an army just to stop them. Because we Yahweh's winners. Eating up our enemies for dinner. You can tell the flow colder than winter. Try to save all the souls of all you sinners. Check it.
Shalom, Yashar Allah. This is your brother Shamar with the Ancient Watchmen and with Guardians of Truth. I have a small class, I basically want to do a quick summary on a lot of the things that Jose Vega, myself, and some other brothers have been bringing out, exposing a lot of the false teachings within the Hebrew movement. And this is basically a message to so-called Latinos and Native Americans, right? Because our people are being brought into a deception. Ben Cueva, shalom, brother. It's good to have you, man. How you doing? So we're gonna do a brief review of the Black Hebrew movement and their Pan-Africanist doctrines. Amos, shalom, bro. It's good to have you, brothers. Welcome to the class. We're just gonna do a little review on some of the false doctrines that a couple brothers have been exposing within the Hebrew movement. A lot of brothers have a misconception and misunderstanding on a lot of the things that we're bringing out, thinking that we're causing division and confusion, and we're not. We are actually clarifying some of the things that that a lot of these brothers are teaching, which is based on lies and black supremacy ideologies. Now I already sound redundant, right? It sounds like a broken record, but it's not. We have to pound these understanding into the brains and the minds of our people so that they can see it. Because our people coming in, they don't know the Bible, they don't know the history, they don't know nothing. So they come into the Hebrew movement thinking that they're being fed the truth when they're actually being fed a bunch of lies. And our people are not speaking about it. They're not speaking against it. So guess what? When you read Isaiah 62 verse 6, the Most High has set his watchmen upon the walls of Jerusalem, and we will not hold our peace nor day nor night. So that's our job. That's the job of you so-called Native Americans, so-called Hispanic men. You're supposed to rise up against all these false doctrines and man-made philosophies that are continuing to deceive our people and defile the minds and the temple of our people today. Right, so we're gonna read. We're gonna jump into it real quick. We're gonna read Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 13. It says, "The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity." Right, and that's what we're not supposed to be doing. That hating our brother, wishing death upon our brothers. And I got a lot of brothers wishing death upon me. I have a lot of threats upon my life by at least 6 people within the Hebrew movement. Now that's wickedness, because if you already hate your brother, you already committed murder, and we're not supposed to do that type of iniquity amongst each other, right? But that's exactly what we see within this camps, with these congregations, and it's basically a bunch of madness, and it's all defiled food that is being, fed into the minds and spirit of our people. Anyway, so Zephaniah 3:13, it says, "The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak." Right, so we're gonna go into the word speak. That word speak goes into the word and the Hebrew dabar, which goes into arrange words, to speak in a destructive sense, subdue, teach, and command. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a bunch of words being arranged within the Hebrew movement in order to deceive our people into false doctrines, into an agenda, into a crafty counsel to deceive our people and to feed our people with lies. And that's what it's saying when it says, "The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak," right? Nor arrange words to speak in a destructive sense. And that's what we see. We're seeing a lot of these brothers speaking destructively to our people, feeding our people lies and destructive doctrines based on black supremacy ideologies, based on Pan-Africanist ideologies and philosophies. Anyways, let's read on. It says, "The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies." Right, the word lies goes into kazab, to make or fabricate a lie. And that's what we see. We see a lot of pseudo information, a lot of made fabricated information to feed their agenda. You know, because again, you know, I tell brothers, yeah, what's up? Shalom, bro. It's good to have you. Joshua Gatelli. You know, I tell brothers that within the Hebrew movement, there is a lot of, you know, pseudo information. Pseudo means false. So a lot of false information, historical information, archaeological information being pushed out as truth. And so that's the destructive sense and teachings and words and lies that are being fabricated to deceive our people, right? So, but we're not supposed to do that according to the scriptures. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful, the word deceitful goes into treachery, deceit, fraudulent claims. And that's what we're seeing. We see a lot of pseudo information, archaeological and historical fraudulent fraud information that is being fed to our people, into the minds of our people. And guess what? Our people coming in, they don't know anything about history. They don't know anything about archaeology. They don't know anything about prophetic information concerning the Bible, any in the Bible and precepts. They don't know anything about that. So they're young, they're coming into the truth. They're coming in as babies. Therefore, they're easily deceived by a lot of these brothers. Right, and you know, brothers can laugh about it and all they want, but you know, we've been addressing a lot of these doctrines within the Hebrew movement, and I'm gonna go into a couple of them in a minute. Kamaya Jackson, it's good to have you, bro. Welcome to the class. All right, so read on. Zephaniah 3:13, it says, "The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity nor speak," right? Meaning no speak words in a destructive sense, or subdue and teach. "Neither shall a deceitful tongue," meaning fraudulent claims, fraud, deceit, treachery, right? We're not supposed to be doing that. "Neither shall a deceitful tongue." Now, the tongue goes into the Hebrew word lashon or lashawam, which is used as an instrument of speech, babbler, evil speaker. And that's what we find in a lot of these camps. A lot of these brothers are speaking, using their tongues as an instrument in speech to lie and deceive our people.
Nationality is. Where you see yourself on this sign? I can teach you too. You a Canaanite? Oh, you know for a fact you're a Canaanite. Your father's a Canaanite. Okay, well hold that right quick.
"The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed." See? So we're supposed to be feeding what? That word goes into ra'ah. Ra'ah is a primitive root which goes into to tend a flock, pasture, to graze, to shepherd. You know, and that goes into Jeremiah 3:15. Let's go there real quick. Book of Jeremiah 3:15, it says, "And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding." And that's what we're doing. We're trying to feed you brothers with understanding of the scriptures, understanding of history, understanding of a lot of these doctrines, exposing a lot of these doctrines that a lot of you brothers have been learning within the Hebrew movement that you have not seen, that are based on lies. You know, and like I said, I sound redundant, I sound like a broken record, and we're gonna continue to sound like a broken record because our people need to hear this information. Our people need to hear be able to discern between the lies and the truth and the lies. And there is a lot of lies being spoken of within the Hebrew movement, spread out within the Hebrew movement, that a lot of our people are not aware of. And like I said, we have made various classes concerning a lot of these false doctrines within the Hebrew movement that are based on Pan-Africanist ideologies. And a lot of brothers, hate me for that, thinking that I'm coming up with a new doctrine, and it's not. It's we're doing the job of a shepherd, which is feed you brothers with understanding concerning a lot of these doctrines, right? All right, so it says, "For they shall feed and lie down." The word "lie down" goes into ravats, to recline, repose, and to rest. So we're not gonna be able to rest until we address a lot of these false teachings that continue to deceive our people and lie to our people and defile the minds of our people. So And it says, and none shall make them afraid. Meaning, once you know and understand what the hell is going on, then you will be able to discern the truth from the lies and the Pan-Africanist ideology being pushed out by a lot of these Hebrew camps. So with that said, let's go to a really famous scripture that a lot of these brothers use. And they use the scripture as a colored scripture. And a lot of brothers know this scripture, right? Joseph ben David, welcome to the class, brother. It's good to have you. Jeremiah 14:2, it says, Judah mourneth, right? I'm gonna read this whole scripture and then we're gonna break it down. It says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof language, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Now, a lot of these brothers use the scripture to say, well, this is definitely proof that the Jews are black, right? And a lot of brothers, flip out and go backwards and fall backwards and get all excited that this is, definite proof that the Jews are black. Let's address the fact that Jeremiah 14:2 is not a colored scripture. That is not a definite proof that the Jews are black. And we're going to break it down right now. So let's read it again and break it down word by word. Jeremiah 14:2, it says, Judah mourneth, right? Mourning, it's a state of mourning. Now we're going to go into the word. To mourn means lamenting, to walk with the head cast down. Why were the Jews were walking in a state of mourning with their heads cast down? Because the invasion was coming. The Babylonians were invading Jerusalem. There was a slaughter. There was genocide being done, invasion. They were being deprived of food and whatnot. So there was an invasion happening to Jerusalem. So a lot of these Judites were in a state of mourning, right? And it says, and the gates. Now the word gates goes into Hebrew 81:77, which means Ja'er, which goes into the marketplace, public meeting, city, town, palace, temple, court of tabernacle. And that's what it's saying. It says Judah is in a state of mourning, and their marketplace, their public meeting, city and town, and their palace and the temple court of tabernacle is languishing, meaning it's suffering, it's going through hell because of the invasion of the Babylonians. That's what it's going to. So we're breaking it down for you, brothers, so that you can have the understanding and that you're not easily deceived by a lot of these scams that are teaching these false doctrines. Ibadia Yashra Allah, welcome to the class. All right, let's read on. So Judah mourneth, meaning Judah is lamenting, walking with the head cast down, and the gates, meaning their public meeting places, their town, their city, the palace, the temple court and tabernacle is basically destroyed. That's what it's going into. And it says they are black. And a lot of brothers freak out right there because that's like, woo, see, the Jews are black, brother, but they don't understand. Let's break it down. That word goes into the word kadar. Now, the word kadar means black, but when you go into the root of that word, remember, in the Hebrew tongue, you can have one word, and that word can have various meanings, from 1 up to 6 meanings and understandings in the Hebrew tongue. So that word, when it says they are black, meaning they are kadar. Now, the word kadar goes into to be ashy, right? Dark color, by implication to mourn, in sackcloth, darken, right? Now we're gonna go into the dictionary and look at that word sackcloth, right? Sackcloth. All right, so I'm using the Bible dictionary right here. A lot of brothers have these ones. Sackcloth, right? It means a coarse cloth, dark in color. You see that? Usually made of goat's hair. It was worn by mourners. You see that? And that's exactly what we see in context when you read Jeremiah 14. Now we're gonna go into 2 Samuel 3:31 real quick, just to give you a little bit of context of what is going into. 2 Samuel 3:31, it says, and David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him, rend your clothes and gird you with sackcloth and mourn before Abner. And King David himself followed the bier. Now, this is when the commander of Saul's army, his name was Abner, got killed or died. So David commanded everybody to put on a sackcloth. Now we read in the dictionary that sackcloth is basically a coarse clothing made of goat's hair, which is black, and that's what Jeremiah 14:2 is going into. I'm gonna read it again from the top. Jeremiah 14:2. It says, Judah mourneth, meaning Judah is lamenting, walking with the head cast down, right? Why? Because the Babylonians were invading the land of the city of Jerusalem. There was genocide being done. People had no food, killing left and right, lynchings left and right, and this and that. So there was a state of mourning. So Judah was walking, lamenting, and walking with the head cast down in sadness. And it says, and the gates, meaning the marketplace, their public places or meeting places, their city, their town, their palace, and their temple, court, and tabernacle was destroyed. Now, we gotta go to Lamentations 2:9 to give you further context of what the gates is going into also. Lamentations 2:9, it says, the elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground. You see that? And keep silence. They have cast up dust upon their heads. That goes into the ashy. That goes into the word kadash, which means to be ashy. Just like that word kadash means. It doesn't necessarily mean black. Like I said, when you read the Hebrew tongue, one word can have different or various meanings. So one of the words, the meaning of the word kadar is not just black, it also goes into be ashy. And that's what we see right here in Lamentations 2:9. The elders of the daughters of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silence. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. You see that? The virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground, meaning they're basically sad, in a state of mourning and sadness, right? So let's go back to Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof language. They are black, meaning they're in a state of mourning. They're ashy. They're putting sackcloth made of goat's hair, right? Let's go into that thing again. See if I can find it. Sackcloth, a coarse cloth, dark in color. You see that? Usually made of goat's hair. It was worn by mourners. You see that? It was a coarse cloth, dark in color, usually made of goat's hair. So that's what the scripture is going to in Jeremiah 14:2, when it says, Judah mourneth, meaning Judah is lamenting, walking with the head cast down, and the gates, meaning their marketplace, their public places of meeting, their city, their town, their palace, and the temple court of the tabernacle was destroyed, right? And it says they are black, meaning the people in Jerusalem are lamenting, are in a state of mourning. They're putting ashy upon their heads because they're suffering, right? And that's what it says. Black means kadar, to be ashy, to darken color, by implication, to mourn in sackcloth, darken, right? Now the word sackcloth and ashes, it's a state of mourn or penitence, a custom of indicating humility before God by wearing a coarse cloth normally used to make sacks and dusting oneself with ashes. And that's what it's going to. The scripture says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof language. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So that's what the scripture is going to. That is not a color scripture. That is not a proof or a scripture to prove that the Jews are black. We broke it down. We went into the Hebrew. We went into the context of what was going on historically, so that you can understand that that scripture in Jeremiah 14:2 is not a color scripture. So Latinos and natives need to stop believing this nonsense once and for all. And our people fail by following after the Canaanites and their customs and their gods. And that's exactly what's going on today. It's nothing new under the sun. Shalom, Yashrala. Thank you for watching this class. For more on it, please check out our channel at YouTube at Ancient Watchmen. Also, do not forget to subscribe. Shalom.